Video gaming is a huge and fast-growing industry, with millions of dollars spent developing games that bring in much, much more. However, gaming isn't all about big-name titles with fancy graphics and major developers. Like most forms of art and entertainment, there is a thriving indie subculture for games. Unlike mainstream titles, indie games tend to be smaller and less complex. This is mainly due to only having a few developers. On the flip side, the games tend to be cheaper, and many are even freeware, making them the ideal gaming choice for broke college students. With that in mind, I will be reviewing a freeware game I recently downloaded and played, e.g. e.g. is a freeware game developed by Daniel Ramar back in 2008, though the updated version I played was released back in 2010. The plot is fairly simple. You play as e.g., a girl whose city ends up at the center of an alien invasion. 6 months after the initial attack, you wake up in a lab, having been given cybernetic implants by the few surviving scientists. Why they gave it to you is not really explained. I'm guessing they just grabbed the nearest thing they could find that wasn't dead. That's usually how it works in these stories. Anyways, you are given a special gun and instructed by your younger brother, who has taken refuge in a control room, to go fight aliens. e.g. is an old-style 2D platform shooter. You run and jump your way through environments, dealing with the enemies in your path, and occasionally hacking things and kicking down doors. You start out with a simple shotgun, but can later acquire more diverse kinds of weapons, even though you'll probably only end up using 1 or 2 of them. The best part about this is it really does capture the feeling of being the only one against impossible odds. The gameplay is solid and fun, with a level of difficulty that doesn't get too frustrating unless you are new to the genre. The downside is that switching through weapons can get really frustrating, particularly if you realize you need a different weapon for a situation only to be shot in the face. But other than that, the gameplay is a lot of fun. The boss battles are the highlight of gameplay. While most enemies can be defeated with the classic dodge shoot, bosses require a bit more strategy. The best part is that you can beat them with abilities you use during regular gameplay, as opposed to many modern games where bosses get killed with cutscene power. They also tend to have quite a lot of personality and great designs, which really adds to the immersion of the experience. The writing is easily the strongest part of e.g. It's an interesting take on an old concept, and the various digital logs from your brother and the aliens give the setting an amazing amount of depth. e.g. herself is a great protagonist. She's strong and determined, yet still very human in the way she reacts to the carnage around her, and more importantly, the destruction she causes. Speaking of carnage, one of the most interesting aspects of the game is the ability to play through it with varying levels of aggressiveness. You could go through the game with a pacifist run, or you can just massacre everything in your path. Guess which one I did? Anyway, while most games allow this as a challenge, e.g. makes it part of the story. How much killing you do affects the progression of the story, and makes players think about their actions. The art is really the chink in the armor here. While the gameplay and story keep interest, the level design is rather repetitive. Really repetitive. New levels just mean new background color, and there are really only a few objects that get repeated over and over. In fact, the objects come in 6 basic types: crates, power-ups, digital logs, easily breakable computers, and strangely indestructible tables. Despite this, e.g. is well worth downloading. It's fun and addictive, and the multiple ways of playing add replay value to an otherwise short game. I recommend it to anyone who likes the genre or is curious about it, or has a few hours to kill.